Good morning, Facebook. Day 11 for me, 30-day personal challenge. So it's day 11. Day 11, no nicotine. Day 10, no alcohol. 8, no pot. 7, no coffee. 5, no Netflix. Facebook, procrastination. YouTube, swearing, and now or speeding, and then sloth. So today is sloth. Still haven't gone a day without swearing yet. Yesterday I was twice as good as I was the day before, so I'm thinking today is going to be the day where I can actually have a day of not swearing, consciously choosing not to swear. So that's what I'm going for. Morning routine is awesome. It's working. Check this out. I got it all. Oh, where am I? Right there. Got it all on the printed up on my wall, so it's easy to see, easy to read. And before it becomes habit, that's the way to get things done. Also with my procrastination, day 7 was procrastination. I've got this. I put this up on my wall, so that's going to be my grid for my urgent, important, not important stuff. So I'm going to prioritize what I want to get done. So that's moving forward. Speeding. Yesterday I quit speeding. And I drove a little slower, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't too much of a big deal. I guess when I go up island, that's going to be the test. But yeah, speeding. So I had to get up a little bit earlier, or leave for work a little bit earlier, and that's not a big deal. So today is sloth, and sloth I actually had to look up a little bit because I felt like I was doing some slothful things. This fall, and that I can lean towards it, kind of like a lizard in the sun. I just like to, and it's one of the more ambiguous of the Christian 7 sins. So I looked it up, and it's described as slow suicide. It's a form of indulging in the apathy or the depression or the attitude that comes from depression. So, it's a rejection of work, or it might not be physical work, but usually it's in the Christian stuff. It's a rejection of doing God's work, or the work that you need to do to have a relationship, a spiritual relationship. So for me, in the future, I want to have a family. I would still love to have a family. I think I'm a long way from being husband material or whatever, but that's something that I still hope for, and I recognize that if I want to be a provider, that I do not have a moment to indulge in self-pity in my bed watching TV. I just don't have. I'm 33 now. I don't have that time. Maybe when I was 18, and maybe if there was more strong male role models in my life at that young age, I would have been slapped in the face and said, "All right, get on with it." And but here I am. I'm doing it for myself, and that's the thing. Anytime you feel a lack of some kind of adult figure in your life or good guidance, recognize that you have a higher self that can parent your younger child self, and that's a good exercise to have. So, sloth, it's a dulling of the mind, it's a slowing down of the body and the mind. It creates depression. So I am going to counter sloth with some of the things that I've already put into my routine, but now it's formalizing it even more. So having an agenda, exercising, being more productive, and doing more self-care. So, like I say, with that agenda, I'm brushing my teeth twice a day and flossing. I never floss. I just floss, and I was like, oh, geez, it's gross. But if you floss regularly, it gets less gross. So, taking the time for self-care and doing more exercise, and just choosing to be smart about the time that I put into things. So. And just to recap, yesterday I did put in my notice with my boss. I'm quitting my job, and it's funny, he wasn't upset or yell at me, which I was concerned about, and I wasn't but I also wasn't relieved. I didn't leave going like woo, like I thought I would. And the reason is, this is what I'm recognizing. This is a form of sloth that I want to give up. So I made it a priority for me to quit in person, because I didn't want to, I wanted to be able to face conflict, and it was just a growth moment for me, and it went really well. We had a really good talk, and what I recognized was that I had been avoiding conflict throughout our working relationship, and keeping my head down and just doing stuff, instead of acting from my place of integrity, and challenging that behavior compassionately. Because this other person is just a human being, and they, might not have had someone give them a correction and say, hey, you're talking to me in a way that doesn't work for me. So, it's funny that in quitting, that's when we actually had our a bit more of a heart-to-heart. And so, I've procrastinated telling him I was going to quit for about 2 or 3, 4 days now. But I recognize that throughout our working relationship for weeks, I could have had an opportunity to get up the courage to talk to him in the morning and say, hey, listen, this dynamic is not working for me. So that's part of the sloth that I'm quitting, that I would like to quit today, is that, and this ties into some of my relationships with friends and family that I've been stretched thin a bit, and that's because when something bothers me, when I have an overwhelming emotion or a negative feeling towards somebody or something that somebody's done, my coping mechanism, because I don't know how to deal with those feelings properly, is self-harm. Some people are assertive and outgoing, and some people are passive and inward. So those passive inward people, I'm kind of a mix, but passive inward people tend to harm themselves when they can't deal with something, whereas outgoing people tend to harm others when they can't deal with something. So I want that's part of the pain body that's coming up. That's part of the lack of skill that I've lived with, and that's going to change. So I'm going to be paying attention. So feelings are like taste buds. You eat a cake because it tastes good. It's your ego is co-opting your mouth, the function of your tongue, to create pleasure, to indulge in pleasure, to feel good, to create happiness. But the tongue is designed to like, if you don't desensitize it with sugar and sweet things, then it'll be able to pick up, oh, that's astringent, oh, that might be poisonous, that'll be good for you, oh, that's nutritionally what you're lacking right now. The body can do those things, and the emotions are the same way. I used to chase highs, emotional highs, in the summers, going to festivals, and then come down really low in the winter, and I just thought if I could just figure out how to keep that high going, then my life would be set. And thank God I switched gears and learned to become more be able to sit with my feelings, as they are seasonal in a way. So emotions, we're not supposed to try and create certain emotions. We're supposed to be able to learn how to live with them first. And that was the first step. So I learned to be able to be depressed, okay, but that's still not the end-all be-all. You want to be able to sit with your emotions, but then you want to learn how to process them, and part of processing them is learning what they are trying to tell you about either your belief or your attitude or your outside environment. So, I was getting depressed at work because the situation wasn't working for me. It was an outside situation, but I was internalizing my stuff and going home and dealing with it in poor ways. Whereas now, like, as I'm letting go of sloth, this is the interpersonal work that I want to be doing, is to, when something doesn't feel right, to actually go and have a conversation with that person. And, most likely, if you approach them in a good way, you'll see a good result. And if you don't see a good result, well, then you'll know this is the time that you back away and you create that boundary of space, So that's been really interesting, and so sloth, goodbye sloth, day 11. yeah, my morning routine is awesome. Waking up, still doing really good. Meditating, which is what I was replacing pot with. That was day 3. I'm still trying to figure out how to meditate properly. There's little 15-minute meditation guides on the internet, so I've been trying a bit of that, but it's a little hard. My mind's kind of racing, so that's going to be my next little challenge. And yeah, stay tuned for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm quitting porn. Haven't used porn a lot, but I'm going to be letting go of that. And yeah, talk about that when we get there. So everyone out there who's watching, have a great day, enjoy it, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right, thank you.